Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is a handover of an Elddis Encore 275. So as we start the walk round, on the driver's side of the vehicle first, the first point you get to is your wheel hookup flap. So this is where you hook the vehicle up. So what you need to do is, you need to lift the wheel flap up first, lift the collar on the hookup lead, and hook the motorhome up first. Then hook the sight up so that you're not walking around with a live lead in your hand should it be wet or anything wrong with the hookup cable. Here we have your Elddis boiler flue. So this gives the location of the boiler on the vehicle, so it will be in your lounge on this model. And this allows the fumes out when operating on gas. Make sure that it's always obstruction free so it allows the fumes out the exhaust. Underneath here, down the back wheel, you'll see that you've got your waste water outlet point. So when you get a warning on the control panel to say your waste is full, all you need to do is open this tap. If you're on a super pitch, what you can do is you can get a little bit of pipe and put it in the gully at the back of your pitch. Or if you're on just a standard pitch, normally what you would do is, once the vehicle is full of waste, either you can decart it by using a waste master, or you can drive the van over the grid on the way out of your site, open the tap and allow the waste water out, which is only shower water, hand basin water, dishes water, or anything that you've drained off via a plug hole. Make sure that this is fully drained off in the winter to stop the water from freezing in the tank below when we are experiencing colder temperatures. You've also got a blue one, so this is your fresh water. So again, if you've taken on any source of contaminated water, you're not using the vehicle for a couple of weeks or a few months, and especially when you're winterizing, you want to open the tap and allow the water out of the motorhome so that nothing freezes in that tank over the winter. LPG, so liquid petroleum gas. This is your gas locker, and this opens with the tri-mark key, which is this key here. Then you push both catches in and you can open the door. You can fit 2 6-kilogram gas bottles in here, and what you've got to do is loosen the strap off so you can get the bottle in, lift the bottle into the holder, tie the bottle in, so that it's secure, and then to get the pigtail on the bottle, which is this black gas pipe, it's a left hand thread, so opposite threads with it being gas, and all you need to do is hand tighten. There's no need for a spanner on the hand tighten pigtail. Turn the bottle on and off from the top of the gas cylinder, making sure that it is turned off before you start travelling. You've got a space for a spare one at the back as well, so you just change the pigtail or change the bottles over when one does become empty and get the other one replaced. And then you've got a crash sensor here, so make sure that this yellow tab is always pushed in. Should it push out, it means the regulator crash valve's gone off. You just need to press and hold it for 5 seconds and it should stay flush with the regulator. Coming further back, we do have your wheel flap for your water. So there's a little key here which locks this flap. Go and get yourself a hose pipe and some hose pipe connections, as it's mainly just a brass tap on site. Then you'll want to put the flat end of the hose between these 2 grooves here and fill it with water until it either overflows, which means you've got a full tank, or you can look on the control panel and see how much water you've got in your freshwater tank at any one time. Come to the back of the vehicle, do have your high level brake light and rear view reverse camera. This customer has had this bike rack put on. They don't come standard with a bike rack on the Encores, so if you're buying one and you want a bike rack, please make sure you let your dealer know, because they don't come from the factory with them. And he's also had parking sensors put on the bottom, again an additional accessory that this customer has opted for. Coming round to the back of the passenger side, So this is your cassette locker. Again, opens with the tri-mark key. So push both buttons in, you'll be able to release the door, and there you have your cassette. So to get your cassette out, you need to lift the orange handle and slide the cassette out of the motorhome. You can either carry it, or you can wheel it to your disposal point on your site, which is normally beside your toilet block. And then to empty it, all you need to do is take the cap off, press the button, which allows a bit of air in, so it gives it a consistent flow when you're tipping it out. Tip the content of the cassette out. Then there's normally a tap there, so you put some water in the spout, give the cassette a final rinse, and then tip out again. Then what you want to do is you want to fill this with a cap full of liquid, which is 120 ml. Pop it into the cassette, and it's good to go back into the motorhome. If you are using the tablets, put a pint of water into the cassette, push it into the van, open the blade, which I'll show you inside on the bottom bowl of the toilet, and drop the tablet down the toilet, which will go into the cassette, and that'll break down with the water into the chemical. The Dometic awning there, which we'll show you on collection. There is also a video on YouTube, so I'll attach that on how to operate the Dometic awning. You've got your two fridge vents, and you'll notice above the door you've got your awning light. And then here you do have your external LPG point. So this is a gas point. So what you do is, there's a little quick release connector here. You'll need to cut that off. Go and get yourself some orange gas hosing and 2 Jubilee clips. Connect the point to the orange hosing and pop it into there. And connect the other end to your Cassette or external barbecue, turning the tap on, and you'll be able to use gas from the bottle on the other side of the motorhome instead of carrying additional bottle for your gas supplying. This is your external TV aerial and 12 volt point. So if you're on a super site, sometimes they give you access to an aerial. So what you'll need is, you'll need some TV aerial coax cable, a length of it. Pop one end in here and one end into their point, and you'll be able to use their aerial on site if you're struggling with the aerial on the roof of the motorhome for a signal. And here you've got an external 230 volt socket, so make sure you're hooked up for this one to work, and you'll be able to have power in your awning. Storage underneath the bench there. Diesel filler, which opens with the main Fiat key, and then underneath, because it's a new diesel compliant engine, it takes AdBlue, which is a 19 litre tank, and it'll come up on the dash when it needs AdBlue. Top it up as soon as the light comes on, because it'll give you a range of around 1,000 miles. If you allow it to go to 0, the engine just won't start, because it needs AdBlue to clean your catalytic converter out at a certain temperature to stop the build up of carbon in the exhaust, so it doesn't damage the engine. So make sure that you top it up. You can buy it on the pumps now, which is about 150 a litre, or you can buy it in the drums, and you may want to put one in the van somewhere just for an emergency. Tyre pressures, so 5.5 bar, which is 79.5 psi on your tyres front and rear. Your tool kit for changing the wheel, jack and a brace, toe and eye is all in here. Engine battery lives underneath this compartment in the floor, so if you ever want to put a charger on in the winter, or you need to replenish the battery in years to come, loosen this panel off and you'll be able to get to the top of the battery and get the battery out the cab floor. And then here you do have your bonnet release. So now underneath the bonnet, you've got your fluids to the left hand side. So you've got your screen wash here, which is the main one you're going to need. And then you can take this cover off here with 3 tabs, and you can fill your coolant for your engine and your brake fluid. There isn't any power steering fluid now on these new Ducatos, as they're an electronic steering rack. And then you do have your oil. Again, no dipstick, it's all through the dash now. So that's where you top your oil up. This is your paint code here on this sticker, so 210 for the white Blanco colour. Earthen point for giving or receiving a jump start. And then just between the air filter and the passenger headlight, there is a little rectangular box. Lift that up, pop the key in there or a screwdriver, lift that up, and that is your positive terminal for giving or receiving a jump start should you ever get a flat battery. And then here you've got your weight plate, so 3.5 tonne gross vehicle weight, 5.5 tonne train weight, so you can tow 2 tonne behind the motorhome. And then you've got your front and back axle weights and your unique build number, which is issued to all Elddis vehicles. So if you ever need a warranty claim, any parts for the van, quote that number, we'll be able to tell Elldis and we'll get the right parts for your vehicle. So to operate your Aldi heating and hot water panel, you need to press the button and turn the panel on. It'll go through its cycle, and then you want to press menu. So at the top it shows a picture of a house with a thermostat in, and what that is your temperature of the motorhome. So you can have it all away by pressing the plus and the minus, and it'll bring it up to 30 degrees, which it is now. That's the highest temperature that you can have in the motorhome, or you can turn it down should it be too hot. And then below you've got your water, so a picture of a shower head. This is your hot water. So if you press plus once, you'll get half a bar, which means it can heat the motorhome and heat the water together, and it'll run parallel, so it'll do it both together at the same time. Should I press it to a full bar by pressing plus again, it now prioritizes the water and it'll not heat the motorhome until the water is hot, and then you press it half bar again and it'll do it both together. So I would just leave it on this one unless you're desperate for water, and then you can put it on the full black bar, which is boost, and it will prioritize your water. Underneath you've got electric, so if you're on a site, don't bother wasting your gas, use electric. So you've got 1 kilowatt, which is 750 watts of mains 230 volt. You've got 1500 watts, which is 2 kilowatts of mains 230 volt. Depending on what the site gives you an amperage through the hookup will determine whether you use 1 or 2, or if you're drawing power elsewhere, such as a microwave, or you've got things running, you may trip the vehicle out, so you may just have to turn it down to 1 kilowatt when you're using those other appliances. But you can use 1, 2 kilowatts or 3 kilowatts if you're on a super site. Failing that, you do have gas, so if you are likely to wild camp, you can press the gas, which is just this button here, making sure that your gas is turned on, and you'll get gas through. But you can use gas and electric together, so should you be away in the winter and you don't want to sit in a cold motorhome, or you're in desperate need of water, put the gas and electric on for around 5 to 7 minutes, and it will boost the heating of the vehicle and the water, and then you can just turn the gas off and allow the electric to continue to heat the motorhome. In the settings here, you can set timers and things, and you can reset the panel. So if you go all the way through to reset, there's a little reset button here, which is page 4 of the settings. So should it be ever failed or glitched, so sometimes with the Aldi it'll show a full bar and not half a bar and a full bar, which means all you need to do is reset it by pressing this button here, and then you would press reset, and it'll reset the control panel. So you'll have to go in, select your temperature again, select your water, select your gas or your electric. So in the kitchen area, you've got a fed oven, grill and hob, and on the hob you've got 3 gas burners. So you can use your 3 gas burners, or you can use your 1 electric hot plate ring. So that's only when you're hooked up, because it's mains 230 volt, and this is this one here. So do make sure that you've turned this off and you haven't knocked it when packing the van, and then you plug it in, because it will get warm and shatter the glass, so because it doesn't give you a light to say it's on. So do just watch that one. You've got your grill pan there, and then underneath you've got your your grill, and then underneath your grill you've got your oven, and then you do have your 3 gas rings as well. There you are, so there's 3 lit gas rings, and like I was saying, allow it to cool so it's cool enough to leave your hand on until you put your glass lid down. Below the oven you've got a gas isolation tap for the oven. This is mainly for when the vehicle is annually serviced. The technician will test that the gas is working accordingly to all appliances, and this is your water pump there with your water pump filter. Got a large cupboard here. There's your drainer, which sits on the bench and clips over the sink. Wheel arch here, so not so much space down here, but still a bit of space. And then pressing the catches in, you can open the drawers, and you've got one big drawer, cutlery tray, under the sink you've got some shelves, and then above catches underneath which open the cupboard. So you've got cups and plate racks there. They are just tied in with 2 screws, so if you do want to remove them you can and put your own storage in for your own cutlery, crockery. 2 shelves, and then you've got cupboard there, and these are your winter vents for your fridge vents. So you pop them on in the winter, and you can still use the fridge with them on, just making sure that you take them off before the temperature gets warm, because your fridge won't be able to cool itself down quick enough. This is your microwave, so it's a Russell Hobbs 800 watt microwave. You do have to be hooked up for it to work, and it's very easy to work, 30-second increments, or you can select the time here by going to the left first and then turn to the right. Above you've got some storage, and you've got the plug for the microwave, so if it's ever giving you any bother you can turn it off there. And then remember, lift this up and put the catch in. Kitchen lights, 2 230 volt sockets, and you've got another 2 on the other side there, so you've got 4 sockets in your kitchen. So to operate this style of Dometic fridge, you'd press and hold to turn the fridge on and off on the left hand side, as it's a flush panel. So that's the fridge off. Press and hold and you'll be able to turn it on. Auto stands for automatic energy selection, so AES for short, and what that does is it finds the best source that the fridge has available at any one time. So at the moment we've got a gas bottle on and we're hooked up on the forecourt, so it's gone to mains 230 volts, so it knows not to waste gas. So it's gone to mains. Should I take the mains out now, it'll switch over to gas automatically, or should I then start the vehicle, it'll send a 12 volt feed from the engine to the fridge, and it keeps the same temperature it was at when departing. So if you've left a site and you go into another site and you've got a fridge freezer full of shopping, on automatic, as soon as you start the engine, it'll find a 12 volt feed, and it'll keep the temperature of the fridge and the freezer at the same temperature it was at when you left the site until you arrive at your next site, and you either hook back up or it goes over to gas. What I would be doing if I was planning on going away in the van and you're lucky enough to keep it at home, is hook it up a few days before, so 2 or 3 days before at the minimum. Not only does that allow the leisure battery to charge, but you can turn your fridge on and chill your fridge first. Then a day before you go away, or the night before even, you can put your shopping in, allow that to chill overnight, and then when you're ready to head off, on automatic it'll switch over to 12 volt. It'll keep your shopping nice and fresh because it'll already be chilled until you arrive back on site and go to mains, which is when you just hook the van up if it's on automatic, or gas. The only thing you've got to be concerned about is if you've left your gas bottle turned on and you've turned your engine off, obviously you're not hooked up, so you're not going to find 230 volt. You're not going to find 12 volts because you've just turned the engine off, but you are going to find gas. So you might find it'll try and look for gas when the gas bottle's open, so that's not good if you're going to fill the van with diesel in a forecourt. It waits 20 minutes before lighting on gas, so you've got 20 minutes of safe time to fill the van up and leave the forecourt, or switch the engine back on and it'll find 12 volt again. But it'll do that when you're wild camping, so what you've got to do is you've got to press mode and knock the auto off and just put it on gas on its own. Give it 20 minutes and then you can put it back on the auto and it'll find gas should it not find anything else, because it waits 20 minutes for safety on the automatic setting before lighting on gas. Here you've got your temperature, so when pre-chilling it, have it on 5. Once you put your shopping in, turn it down to 3 or 4 being the maximum, because sometimes it is enough to freeze the fridge. And then you've got your travel catches, so you push them forward when you're travelling, pull them back and you'll be able to open the doors, and you've got the good sized fridge underneath and a good sized freezer. Remember, when you are not using the van, pull these catches out, turn the fridge off, clean it out, and then leave the doors open. So that just connects onto there, and it'll stop the air from going smelly in the fridge and mould and bacteria from growing in there and making a smell in the van as you've trapped the air in the fridge and freezer doors. Above the fridge you do have your Truma solar panel charge regulator, so it's green there, which means it's charging, and it's charging your leisure battery. There is a fuse in the bottom, so if you ever don't see them lights, it may have just blown a fuse, so it's a 10 amp fuse in the bottom, so do carry some spare fuses anyway for your fuse box, which I'll go through in a moment. But this one does take a 10 amp. Teleco TV booster, so you can boost the decibels of the booster should you be struggling to get a signal on this wheel here. Should it be too strong, just try turning it down, and then should you be still struggling for a signal, you can adjust the aerial. And to adjust the aerial, all you need to do is loosen this off, push the stem up, and then turn the handle and it'll direct the aerial on the roof, making sure that it's always pulled into the van and tightened securely before travelling to stop the wind from getting underneath the aerial and causing any damage. Next to your fridge you've also got a little storage compartment for your freestanding table, so that lives in there, so you can either have that at the front of the van or outside depending on if it's nice weather or not. So to operate your toilet, what you've got to do is make sure that the pump's on the main control panel, which will give you a fresh water feed to your toilet, so it's a fresh water from the main tank, so there isn't a header tank on it. So press the blue button and you'll get some flush. So there you are, make sure the pump's on, press the button, you get a bit of flush water there, which is just fresh water. Always put a bit of water in the toilet before you use it, because it helps keep the seal between the blade and the cassette lubricated. And then before you use it, you want to open the blade. So this grey handle, slide it to your right. As you can see now, everything's gone into the cassette because it's opened the trapdoor between the cassette and the toilet. You can now use the toilet. Once you've used the toilet, give it a good flush and then close the blade back to your left. Should you have bought the Aqua Chem blue in the pack with the pink in the bigger bottle, what you can do is you can use the pink by putting it in a spray bottle and diluting some with some water, spraying the bowl, as it'll do the same job. It'll clean the bowl, give a fragrant smell in the washroom, flush it, and then close this back to the left. Once the cassette is full, you'll get an indication underneath the little diagram of the cassette here to say that it's full and it's ready to be changed. Toilet roll holder there, frosted window with blackout blind and fly screen on it. All of them have got blackout blinds and fly screens throughout the motorhome. Large toiletry cabinet there. Towel rail holders. Push plug on your sink. That's just showing that your water is hot there. So your Aldi boiler is working great. Toiletry, storage space, and then in the bottom of this one, because this customer has had rear parking sensors fitted, this is your module for your parking sensors. So if you're wondering what it is, it's just the module for your parking sensors. Should you have not had parking sensors fitted additionally, you won't have this in the bottom of your toiletry cabinet. Across from it we do have your shower. So you've got your shower head there, which just clips on to here. Make sure that when you winterize the motorhome, you do take the shower head off the hose. Just unscrew it and lie this hose in the tray so no water sits in the pipe and could potentially freeze and break that pipe, leaving all your mixing taps, so all your mixers, all three of them, open throughout the motorhome to stop any water from sitting in there and potentially freezing. And you've got a drying rack there, which just goes away. And your shower screens, there's a little turnbuckle on the top just to keep them pinned back when travelling. You can take that off and slide them when using the shower. In the wardrobe, so you've got a wardrobe with double hanging rails, so one rail there, one rail here. Those are your infill cushions for your bed, which I'll show you in a moment how to make the front bed into a double if you're not using it as two singles. And then at the back you've got your header tank for your Aldi system. So you've always got to run the system up because it's an expanding liquid and it'll expand, and then let the system set. So turn it off and you'll see the true reading of the Aldi liquid, so whether you need to top it up or not. And you can, Aldi recommend 5 antifreezes to go in there, and they've all got a 5-year lifespan, so every 5 years you do have to change the liquid in your system, so you get your system drained and top back up. But to do that, there's a little cap on the top there to top the liquid up. Underneath you've got some storage drawers. Underneath your bench seat on the passenger side of the vehicle is your fuse box. So this is your consumer unit. So you've got all your trips on mains 240 volt, and you can press this button here and trip the vehicle out. So should you think you're not receiving mains power, try tripping your van. If your van doesn't trip, then it's not the vehicle, it's the other end. Underneath you've got all your 12 volt fuses. So like I was saying before, carry some spares. They are just standard blade fuses, so you'll need 2s, 5s, 10s, 15s, 25s. Carry a mixture, and then if something doesn't work, try the fuse. If it's blown a fuse, just replenish the fuse. And then because it's got the heated waste and freshwater tanks, this is the little toggle switch underneath, so you can turn that on if you're going to experience colder temperatures overnight, and it'll stop the water from freezing in the tanks below the van. In your lounge, underneath the lift up floor section, you've got 2 storage boxes, but they do include your leisure batteries, so lift them up. You've got one leisure battery there, which is a Varta 95 hour amp battery. And then here you do have another space for another one. So they do only come with one as standard, but should you want another battery in, all you need to do is buy the battery. The harness is here, connect it to the top positive and negative terminals, and tie the battery in, and then you will have enough for 2 days, 6 days off grid, sorry, as one battery gives you 3 fully charged, so you'll have 6 days off grid with 2 leisure batteries, depending on how you use them. But with one, you'll have 3 days maximum off grid. So to make your bed, what you need to do is lift the front of the seats out into the middle. That'll form the base. Use the backrests down both sides, and there's a gap in the middle for your infill cushion, which is stored in your wardrobe, to go in the centre there, and that creates your double bed across the width of the motorhome. So in the cab, going through the new clocks on the Fiat Ducato, so using the up and down and left and right, you've got 5 pages. So you've got 1 to 5, so that goes through the pages, and then left to right, so you can see that you've got a digital speedometer, you've got your average speed, you've got your distance and your travelling times, you've got your average speed, you've got your distance and travelling times on trip computer A, and you've got a trip computer B, that's why it repeats itself twice. And then you've got your range, so you've got your current range of 118 mile in the fuel tank, and then underneath, when you're driving, you'll get your consumption, your instant consumption, which is what you're currently doing. If you go down to the next page, you've got your GSI, which just means you're parked, or you can pop it into drive. You've got your oil level, so that's on max there, and then if you go to the right, you can view your oil temperature, but it's currently not at temperature. Got your oil life, you've got your voltage in your engine battery, and you've got your AdBlue level. It'll tell you then when it needs AdBlue, and then you do have your service light. No alerts, so it would come up there, AdBlue level low, fuel level low. If there was anything wrong with the vehicle, it would come up in there. And then you can go into setup of the vehicle, and you can scroll through your display settings, your security and your safety, but that's all explained in the handbooks. So that's all on here. Then you've got your hands free and voice control, and then on this side, cruise control, or you've got a speed limiter, and then to set, you just press up and down to set the speed, and then resume to go to the last speed that it was set to before the engine was turned off. If you want to cancel it, you can cancel it here, or you can hit the foot brake and that'll turn off the cruise control. Automatic lights, so just leave them on automatic, and then you've got your frequency of your wipe on the, so it's not up and down, it's on the side here. And then going into the head unit, so with it being the new Uconnect, so you've got your on off button and your volume here. There is 2 buttons on the back of the steering wheel, so you've got skip this side and you've got your volume this side, just behind the wheel. So going through the head unit, you've got home, click on the radio, so media, the music tone is your radio, and you can press and save 15 of your favourite stations on DAB or FM by skipping through them here. You can browse them by pressing browse and then all, and then these are all your stations, so you can scroll through and find all your stations on DAB. However, if you did need to change it to FM, you can press source and go to FM, or you may want to use Bluetooth because it doesn't take a CD, and you click Bluetooth. USB is a connection in here at the back for the radio, so that would come up when USB is connected and they've detected a USB connection. Otherwise you can go to your phone. So the next one down is your phone, and you want to go, no phone's connected, do you want to add a phone? Yes. Search for Bluetooth devices here, and you want to go into your settings of your phone and search for this, and it's called Uconnect. Press it on your phone and it'll come up here, iPhone trying to connect, or Callum's iPhone, or whoever's phone wanting to try to connect, and just press pair. Pair on here, pair on your phone, and then it will ask you on your phone if you want to allow your contacts to be saved. Just press allow, and that'll download your phone book, and it'll mean that you can use Bluetooth media. And if it's an iPhone, Apple, it does have wireless Apple CarPlay as well, so it'll mirror your phone onto here, and you can use the sat nav in your phone, either Google Maps or Apple Maps or Waves or whatever you're using. It'll image it onto here, Spotify, Apple Music, all onto here. Click underneath, you've got a picture of a van, and you can go through your trips. So instead of going through there, you can view it on here as well, and you can change any settings that you may want to in here. So when the clocks go back and forth, you can change it. The locks, you can do all sorts, and you can reset it should you ever need to reset it. And then press the square tiles in the bottom, and it takes you back to your favourites.